Any of you guys who know my taste in movies know I have a little bit of a complicated relationship with the previous Jurassic World movie. With that said, though, I did go into this one feeling pretty optimistic, hoping for the best, and now I'm here to talk about it for you all. I'm John Hayeck, and welcome to my movie thoughts. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So this is the fifth movie in the Jurassic Park franchise overall. It's a sequel to 2015's Jurassic World. It brings back the stars from that movie, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt. Bryce Dallas Howard ran this entire Jurassic World facility where tourists could come and vacation and enjoy seeing dinosaurs alive and just do their breathtaking things that they do and everything, everywhere from the T-Rex to the Stegosaurus, the Velociraptors, to the Triceratops, the Pterodactyls, all those cool things. Chris Pratt trained a lot of those dinosaurs, made sure that they worked functionally in the island and stuff. But those dinosaurs wound up getting out, they wound up causing some havoc on the island. Tourists got scared, some of them maybe even killed, and now the island's been shut down. However, in this movie, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt need to go back to the island and rescue those dinosaurs because they are an endangered species, and a volcano on the island is threatening to completely destroy them and make dinosaurs go extinct once more. However, also in the process of that, they need to ensure that these dinosaurs don't fall into the hands of poachers who may wind up selling those dinos for profit. It's kind of a lot going on in this movie, and I'll tell you guys this. As I mentioned up front, I have a bit of a I was going to say love-hate relationship with the first Jurassic World, but I really just hated it. I thought it was a horrible movie. It was just kind of all over the place. It was riddled with product placement. The dialogue was horrible. I thought that a lot of the characters were pretty useless, and I thought a lot of them had very little personality, if any. But going into this movie, I'm like, all right, we got a new director, even though the writers are back again. I'm a little bit optimistic with this one. I don't know, the story seems a bit different. Doesn't seem like it's rehashing a lot of what the original Jurassic Park did. And I was right, the story of this movie was kind of neat. I do think there were a lot of questionable moments in there, and that's the word I'm going to use throughout this review, is questionable and cringy. But I do think overall the story flowed well enough that I can say, yes, narrative configuration is a strength of this movie. It does feel like it flows fluidly, and it does feel like it goes from beat to beat on a pretty tight, pretty consistent basis. I never was checking my watch this movie wondering, like, oh, when's it going to end, or this is dragging on too long. I feel like they basically hit their beats where they need to, especially in the first act when they're performing that rescue mission. I felt like that was the best part of the entire movie. Second two acts, not amazing, but the first act especially stood out as feeling like it could have been a self-contained like 40 to 45 minute movie that people could have enjoyed nevertheless. The opening sequence in particular shows you kind of what you're in for. It's a very horror-based like vibe. The director J.A. Bayona has worked on horror movies before, like The Orphanage, and you feel like his style shows through in this. The way he uses lighting makes the dinosaurs very unpredictable and makes them feel like they're lurking in the shadows and can kind of pop up anywhere, and I really liked him bringing that element back, because when you think about it, dinosaurs coming back to life and terrorizing humans is a horror premise. Like, that's really scary. And even though the movie does kind of turn into a stupid monster movie by the end, those horror beats really impressed me, and I like them quite a bit. In terms of characters, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt are back. I feel like they had more to do in this movie, because in the first movie, it's just kind of like a disaster scenario where they're just kind of running around trying to rescue stuff. But in this movie, you feel like you have more conversation with them, and you feel like you're kind of understanding, like, oh, this is where they are in their life, this is kind of what they believe in and stuff. And I did appreciate the more effort was put into developing them as characters. With that said, what they stood for wasn't exactly all that great. There's kind of like it's not really a spoiler because it's kind of the backbone of the entire movie, but there's this entire like animal rights advocacy like program behind saving the dinosaurs, and Bryce Dallas Howard is like leading that and everything. But it feels kind of weird because you're like, how do they pitch this? Like, how do they recruit people to join this entire like animal advocacy group, like this dinosaur advocacy group? Because it's not going to be like, oh yeah, save the dogs, or like save the, I don't even know, like lions or something like that. Save the dinosaurs, like literally the things that are gigantic and can kill you and are some of those deadly species to have ever walked the earth. It feels kind of weird. It feels like it's kind of, you know, suspicious that there are this many supporters behind it. So I thought that was a bit odd. And with that said, you can notice so many little plot holes. You can notice so many like gaping holes in this movie that you just think like, yeah, that seems like it wasn't all that well thought out, and that seems like it was just kind of rushed, and that seems like it was just kind of thrown in there for no specific reason. I won't get into any spoilers in this review, but there are so many things as you go along. You're just like, yeah, we could have gone without that, and this movie would have just been a little bit more enjoyable. For instance, there are these two characters that are kind of working for the same organization that Bryce Dallas Howard is, and those two are just throwaway worthless characters. One of them's kind of funny, one of them's like, I have a PhD, but both of them just feel like they're useless. You could have accomplished the same thing if you just had Chris Pratt do the medical sphere of stuff, and if you had Bryce Dallas Howard just take control of everything. But with that said, they threw in these two new characters for, I don't know, comic relief or something. They felt useless, so that was my take on them. I do think that as the movie goes on as well, you get more and more cringy dialogue. Like, again, the first opening sequence was great because it felt like it was terrifying. It felt like it was a lot of visual cues going from visual cue to visual cue to visual cue, and you just being enticed by what you see on screen. And the visual design of this movie was quite good. But when the characters start talking, you feel like some parts of it are just like so kind of like cringy what they're saying to one another. You feel like the dialogue was just kind of like from a first draft of a screenplay, and like it doesn't really feel as though it's played out in the way normal people would talk to one another. Like there's this one scene, for instance, where like one of the characters says to another one, "Hey, you better come down here. We've got a problem in the basement. You gotta help us out." And I'm like, you could have said like, "Hey man, we got a situation in the basement," or something like that. Like you don't need to be that excessive. You don't need to be that desperate to show the audience where you're going next. It felt like it was just over explaining, and I don't really like that. It felt like it wasn't realistic to me. So with that said, guys, I thought there was some cringy dialogue in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I liked that the characters were paid more attention to, and I liked the visual design of it, but I do think there were also a lot of plot holes behind it. There were a lot of stupid moments here and there, and I do think that overall, it's not a movie you're going to walk out loving, and it's not a movie you're going to walk out hating, but it is a movie you're going to think, yeah, that's like a guilty pleasure at best. I'm not going to say you need to run out and see it, but I do think it's a stark improvement over the first Jurassic World. Nowhere near the original Jurassic Park by any means or stretches of the imagination, but with that said, it's an improvement, and I think that maybe the trilogy could wind up being if the third one's good. So let me know your thoughts on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in the comment section down below. Again, nothing special for me, but you know, not a complete throwaway. They're kind of guilty pleasure fun. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Hayeck, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and go over to mymoviethoughts.com for tons more posts from me. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can like this video, comment on it, and share it with some friends also. I'm Hayeck, as always. Thank you guys so much for watching.